They've been bought out by out-of-state companies, and when that happens, priorities change, homes turn into numbers, and people turn into profit goals.
We take pride in the fact that Precision is family-owned and still locally run for over 30 years.
We're not just talking about business. We're talking about our name, our family, our reputation.
And we'll be here long after the job is done. That's Precision Air and Plumbing. Make the precision decision today with Precision Air. Call 602-FIX-MY-AC. That's 602-FIX-MY-AC. Or go to PrecisionAirandPlumbing.com.
Make a precision decision with Precision Air.
It's the Shamrock and RV sale at Little Dealer, Little Prices. Take home a Forest River Westrope 27cc for just $25,995 and scratch off up to $5,000 in added savings. Shop now. Inventory subject to availability. Scratch off savings and incentives may vary. Maximum savings not guaranteed. Terms and conditions may apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
Meineke always treats your car like it's their own. With over 50 years of experience, Meineke's certified technicians will diagnose and fix any issue with precision and care. Schedule an appointment at Meineke.com. Trust your key with Meineke. Meineke, doing car care right.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, choose the attorneys at Sweet James. They help you navigate the legal process and pursue the compensation you may be entitled to. Free case review. Help available 24/7. Hablamos Español. 800-9-MILLION. 800-9-MILLION. SweetJames.com. This advertisement is paid for by Sweet James LLP. Responsible attorney, Bobby Tick-Heavy. Offices in California. No guarantee of results.
With a Global Credit Card, you earn reward points for every purchase. Use your rewards at checkout at many of your favorite stores. Or use points instead of cash when you shop online. You can even use them to book a flight up to 3 days in advance. New York, Vegas, Albuquerque. From groceries to getaways, redeem your way. Apply for your Global Credit Card now at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
When I was a kid, my dream wasn't a mansion. It wasn't a yacht. It was a 250cc Kawasaki dirt bike sitting in the garage. That garage and that bike represented freedom. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello. At A1 Garage Door Service, we know your garage holds more than tools. It holds dreams. From repairs to upgrades, call A1 Garage Door Service today or schedule online at a1garage.com.
A1 from day one.
At the Phoenix Zoo, we are scaly things and furry things. We are fast things and slow things. Tall things and short things. We are huge things and very, very small things. We are things from right here in Arizona and things from all over the world. We are thousands of living, breathing mammals, reptiles, birds, insects, fish, and amphibians that you absolutely have to see. Phoenix Zoo, that zoo we are. For tickets, hours, and many more things, visit phoenixzoo.org.
The Shields Fishing Sale event is here, now through March 15th. Save 20% on Shields Outfitter rods, Berkeley baits, Rapala lures, and more. Don't miss over $1,000 off Garmin Live Scope bundles, plus up to $500 off select Minn Kota trolling motors. Get ready for unforgettable fishing and save now through March 15th, only at Shields and Shields.com.
It pays to play at your local home for Caesars Rewards, Harrah's Auction Casino. With the nation's largest and most rewarding casino loyalty club, your play grants you perks at more than 50 destinations across the nation. Stay, play, splash, and dine, and then take in a Vegas show or steal away to Lake Tahoe. Because with Caesars Rewards at Harrah's Auction Casino, it always pays to play. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Visit the Caesars Rewards Center for details.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's time for our top story of the day.
Welcome into the Friday edition of the lunch break. Hope everybody's having a great week. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Big weekend up ahead. Got some World Baseball Classic games tonight. Lot going on. We'll get into all of that on the program. First off, my name, Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert for the last day of his vacation. Hopefully he has been having a great time. Don't forget to be able to give us a call, 480-864-1060. You got anything on your mind, give us a shout. You want to talk Suns with their big win last night. You want to talk the Cardinals offseason. You want to talk the D-back spring training. We can get to all of it. So don't be afraid to give us a call, 480-864-1060. And one of the things I just brought up there, the Suns, big win last night. They get a huge win on the road in Indiana, and that's where we'll start today's program.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
A 123-108 win on the road. And the Suns start stringing them together again. It's 4 in a row for the Phoenix Suns. And maybe it wasn't the put them away in the third quarter that we had all hoped for, but nonetheless, a 15-point win, a back-to-back 15-point wins, 3 in a row of winning by double digits. And just like that, the Suns remain 1 game back of the 6th seed in the Western Conference. And listen, I'm not saying that yesterday wasn't full of a roller coaster at times. It didn't have its ups and downs. I think when you look at that first half and you go on a little run in the second quarter, I think you played some great defense there in the second quarter, and you go up into half up 6. And then in the third, it was the belief coming out in the third is, okay, let's just ramp it up here, take a bigger lead, kind of rest everybody in the fourth. They have a back-to-back tonight as they travel to Toronto to take on the Raptors. And you couldn't put them away in the third. You only come with with an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter. And so you end up winning this game by 15. And 15, it's not 4. It never felt in doubt. But it's certainly at times you would have liked for them to extend the lead in the second, in the third quarter, and pull away a little bit more in this game. And with all that being said, though, a ton of positives, because I don't think a single one of us would sit down and argue this morning that what we saw last night wasn't everything we wanted when the Suns got Jalen Green in the Kevin Durant trade. You watched last night, and you watch Devin Booker and Jalen Green combined for 79 points in Indiana. And you say, there it is. There it is. What's the old Leonardo DiCaprio meme, where he's kind of snapping his finger and pointing at the TV? Whoop is what he does there. That's what it was last night. That was when you made the trade this offseason, when you knew you had to dump Kevin Durant. Jalen Green was a huge piece of that trade. And he hasn't been healthy most of the year, and we haven't seen much of Devin Booker and Jalen Green on the floor at the same time. What you saw last night was what you've been wanting to see all year long. A combined 79 points. It was 43 from Devin Booker, and it was 36 from Jalen Green. And Jalen Green felt like he had everything falling last night. He was 14 of 23 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3. And really, I thought the best part of his game last night was the mid-range. And we've watched Jalen Green this year, and for those who have watched him in previous years, I don't think you would sit here and say, Jalen Green, he's a mid-range guy. Not at all. But last night he was, and it was falling. And 14 of 23 for the 36 points, went to the line 7 times, made 5 of those. It was a nice night. It was a nice night. He had 5 turnovers again. The turnovers, listen, they're a problem. They are something they're going to have to address. But when you get a 36-point night to play off of Devin Booker's 43, it is hard not to be excited about that. And the Suns, by the way, combined for 21 assists last night. 21 assists, and just a lot to be excited for when you look at that Suns roster and how they're playing right now. Because what you got out of Devin Booker, what you got out of Jalen Green, all of this without Dillon Brooks out on the floor. And I saw a question this morning that referred to, when are the Suns at their best? Is it last night with Devin Booker and Jalen Green as the second scoring option? Or is it like we've seen previously with Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks? And it kind of had me starting to question that, because when I shaped that conversation, I think there's two ways to look at it. I think the Suns, I don't think anybody would argue that last night was not the Suns' best night. There was a lot of positives. The two of them were fantastic. As a team, they are not playing their best basketball. I think for stretches this year, with Dillon Brooks out on the floor, they have been playing their best basketball. And so that was the first thing my mind went to, was for stretches when Dillon Brooks is out there and Dillon Brooks feels like that second scoring option or the second guy, however you want to phrase it, I think the Suns had played some of their best basketball. But last night, you watch that team and you think the ceiling is way higher. The ceiling with Jalen Green is far higher than it is with Dillon Brooks. We know who Dillon Brooks is, and he's a great player, and he has helped turn the Suns culture around. And Dillon Brooks has been a huge piece of why the Suns are 12 games over 500. The win total, 30.5 in Vegas. 39-27 are the Phoenix Suns. And they got, 16 games left? 16 games left. They're one game out of the 6 seed in the Western Conference. They're 2 games out of the 3 seed. They're right in the mix. Dillon Brooks has been a huge part of turning that around. But when you watch the game last night, it's hard not to believe the ceiling is a little bit higher when you have Jalen Green out there. The ceiling is just, it's so much higher, because when you got Jalen Green, you went out, you got a young guard who you thought could get to the rim, who you thought could add a really nice second scoring option. It just hasn't worked out to that way to this point. They've used Jalen Green sparingly early in the year before he got re-injured in those 2 games, and I think there was flashes in that first one he played. Then he came back again before missing another couple games with an injury. And most recently, when Devin Booker was out, we all started to ask the question, is Jalen Green capable of getting the Suns through this time of injury? And I think clearly the answer was no. He just wasn't ready. He hadn't played enough games yet. He was still getting his feet under him as a Phoenix Sun. I still think he is getting his feet under him here in Phoenix. But wow. You watched last night and you realize, okay, that was the trade they made. That was what they were looking for when they wanted Jalen Green and the Kevin Durant deal. So it was the 2 guys last night that carried the way. And again, a 123-108 win for the Phoenix Suns. It wasn't as big of an impact from the rookies last night, though. I got to tell you, I thought Rasheer Fleming didn't have a huge impact. Kaman Malawach didn't feel like he had a huge impact on the game. And I think that kind of circles back to what has been going right for the Suns all year. It's a different guy every night. And we expect it to be Jalen Green and we expect it to be Devin Booker like it was in Indiana last night. But we don't always expect the Rasheer Flemings. We don't always expect the Dillon Brooks, the Colin Gillespies, the Kaman Malawaches. And last night, the rookies and Rasheer Fleming and Kavan Malawach didn't have the type of impact we've seen them have recently. But that's what's great about the Phoenix Suns. They can run 11 guys at you. The other night in Milwaukee, it felt, honestly, like they were just deeper. They had 10 to 11 guys that could get on the floor and play solid NBA minutes. I think when you see this team play in a play-in game, we could talk about double-digit guys getting into a play-in playoff game. How many teams can say that? The Suns are just deeper than most. And so when I talk about it being a different guy every night, that happens because this roster is deep. You can see guys like Ryan Dunn, who I think we all think that Ryan Dunn could be a contributor on most NBA teams, start to lose minutes because Rasheer Fleming has been that good. Mark Williams goes down. Okay, we'll deal with it. Jalen Green goes down, doesn't play most of the year. Okay, we'll deal with it. Devin Booker out in spurts. Okay. Dylan Brooks out in spurts. Okay. The Suns' 4 best players at times have been out for extended periods of time. We're talking about a team that's 12 games over 500. A team that was expected to win 31 games all year long is already at 39. What people don't talk about with this team is their depth. And it has showed over the last 4 games. And if it's going to show one more time in Toronto, if there's a time you need the depth to come up, it's off a back-to-back. And tonight, they're off a back-to-back in Toronto. And like I said, it wasn't putting the Pacers away in the fourth quarter, but a 15-point win nonetheless. A win is a win. You beat a team below 500, a team you should beat. And just like that, the Suns have won 4 in a row heading into Toronto tonight. It's a 4:30 p.m. tip-off. So another early one here, a little afternoon basketball, and we will preview that game in hour number 2. Up next, the Cardinals offseason motors along. It was a flurry of moves yesterday in additions and a subtraction as well. We break it all down next here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
Chicago Sticks, the Windy Cities Tour. Finally, 2 iconic bands together for the first time. September 1st, Mortgage Matchup Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Chicago and Sticks. All the hits, your kind of tour.
Meineke's highly skilled and certified technicians always treat your car like it's their own. With over 50 years of experience, Meineke will diagnose and fix any issue with precision and care using the best state-of-the-art equipment. You can always depend on Meineke to do the job right and get you back on the road in no time. Save time and schedule an appointment now. Visit Meineke.com today.
Rockin' RV sale at Little Dealer, Little Prices. Right now, take home a lightweight, family-friendly Westbrook 27cc for just $25,995. That's thousands less than the competition on a bunkhouse travel trailer. Plus, scratch off your savings and unlock up to $5,000 in added savings and incentives. Available in-store and online. Unbeatable pricing, massive selection, and service support you deserve. Don't wait. Shop online or in-store at Little Dealer, Little Prices today. Inventory subject to availability. Scratch off savings and incentives vary. Maximum savings not guaranteed. Terms and conditions may apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
If you've been disappointed by underachieving savings, a high-yield certificate from America First can be a fantastic way to help your money start doing more. Whether you're planning for an upcoming expense or just want to save smarter and earn bigger, America First's flexible certificates are an outstanding way to grow your cash. So don't wait to get your money working. Head to americafirst.com and open a high-yield certificate today. Membership eligibility terms, conditions, and change apply. Fees could reduce account earnings. Federally insured by NCUA.
I'm here with your Run Report. After hearing Ravens GM Eric DeCosta explain what happened with the Max Crosby deal, it only makes he and they look even more slimy today. And I don't believe anything he said yesterday other than he owed it to the team and the owner to do what's best for the organization. I mean, clearly, right? And what he decided was best for the organization was signing Trey Hendrickson and keeping those two number ones instead of trading them for Max Crosby. And why do I think that if Hendrickson was not available, that Crosby would have passed his physical? Because he probably would have. I can't help but think that Hendrickson was actually their first plan all along, and that Crosby was the fallback plan if they couldn't get Hendrickson. And miss me with this nonsense that they were actually trying to get both players. Sure, they weren't. Once again, they didn't do anything illegal, but that was definitely dirty pool, and yesterday's terrible spin job only reinforced that. I'm Jim Rome. Remember, you can follow me also on Instagram at Jim Rome.
Need parts fast? Need them now? O'Reilly is fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly Auto Parts stand apart. Right now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts, you can get one free set of brake pads when you buy two qualifying brake rotors. Ask the professional parts people about additional brake pad and rotor upgrade options available at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
I'm not here to bury Mike Tomlin, but the fact is, this absolutely is the right move. He did the right thing, and he fired himself. All good things come to an end. Going a decade without winning a single playoff game is not meeting the standard.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back in. Friday edition of the lunch break. Thanks for everybody for hanging out. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. Hope everybody had a wonderful week. Hopefully you got big weekend plans, doing something fun or just relaxing. But before we get into the weekend, I got to update you. Because the Cardinals offseason, it keeps moving. And I know there's been a ton of questions about the moves they've made. Yesterday, we talked about some of the grades they've gotten. We know they have a focus on the offensive and defensive line. If you want to talk about the Cardinals offseason, you want to talk about the Suns, you want to talk about the D-backs, anything you see, 480-864-1060. Don't be afraid to give us a call. If you want to give a grade out for Cardinals offseason, 480-864-1060. Don't be afraid to get your opinion. But the Cardinals made a few more moves yesterday. And again, it was on that offensive line, defensive line. And it started with on the O-line. They brought back Elijah Wilkinson. And Elijah's a guy who over the last 2 years had spent some time in Atlanta. And then you rewind it back there. He had a 1-year stint here in Arizona. But it's another move along the front of the offensive line for the Cardinals to continue to build. Because we knew that if this team was going to want to compete in 2027, which, as we've watched this week unfold, I've said this countless times on this program, it feels that that's the target. 2027, get a young quarterback in the building. You have bridge guys to get you through the next couple of years. In Jacoby Brissett, who played some really good football there at the end of the year when he came in. You signed Gardner Minshew to the 1-year deal. And since then, it's been a focus specifically along the offensive line. It started with Isaac Seumalo. Then they added Matt Pryor. Now they add Elijah Wilkinson on a 2-year deal. On a 1-year deal. He was a far more efficient run blocker last year in Atlanta than he was as a pass protector. Almost, I wouldn't say struggled in the pass game, but certainly was not among the top pass protectors in football, but above average run blocker. A guy who can get in there, who can move some bodies. And we've talked in this offensive scheme about what they're going to want to do with Michael LaFleur. And Chris and I sat here when they made the hire and said, well, let's face it, guys. We know what the Rams like to do. The Cardinals don't have the weapons the Rams have. They can't rely as heavily on the pass. And the Rams like building everything off the run game. That's what Sean McVay has kind of built a career off of, is run the ball first, we'll play off of it. And so we believe that the Cardinals would have that same philosophy. And I think the early part of free agency has showed us that. When they went out and got Tyler Algier, you restructured James Conner, make sure that he's still in the building. You added Isaac Seumalo, you added Matt Pryor, and yesterday you add Elijah Wilkinson back. And so now we knew this team was going to have to make, we said, 3 overhaul changes to the offensive line. Well, I got 3 names for you. They've made the 3 moves. It does not stop there. I think this will continue into the draft. I think they will go out there and maybe sign another offensive lineman. I think they need help on the defensive line, and we will get into that because it might be a name you're familiar with, but it is a different player that the Cardinals went out and added on the defensive line yesterday. It's been 3 offensive linemen that they added to this point in free agency. It is a clear plan for this organization. They recognized where they were bad last year up front, and they say, hey, we got to go attack that. Because last offseason, they made no offensive moves. The big move in Josh Sweat, they bolstered a lot of the defensive side of the football. But they made little to zero offensive moves to help the offense in the offseason. And the offensive line suffered because of it. It was a bad unit. It was a bad group amongst football. And so they saw that, and they're addressing it. And I think they will continue to address it. So, yeah, it was a flurry of moves yesterday. It started with Elijah Wilkinson, but it continued on to just the other side of the ball. But let's remain in the trenches because they went out and added Jonah Williams. And not the offensive lineman I think we're all thinking in Jonah Williams, the guy who spent his last 2 years here in Arizona. No. The defensive lineman for the New Orleans Saints, Williams posted 3 sacks last year in New Orleans. He will join this pass rush group. He's graded out as on PFF as a solid pass rush option. A middle of the pack guy, right around the average. It hasn't been huge sack numbers for Jonah Williams in his career. I believe 3 was his highest that I saw. That was last year. The one thing he does struggle is he struggles stopping the run. He struggles in the run game. So they're going to try and find a spot for Jonah Williams. These aren't deals that move the margins for the Cardinals. They're not going to make this team far better or anything like that. But they're deals and they're moves that I think when you address this team and what they were going to have to do this offseason, those were some of the ones we talked about. Defensive, offensive line, it may not be big names. You're going to have to build out the trenches. And I think yesterday just shows us that idea that they said, okay, that's where we struggled. I'm not saying this offseason is perfect. I think it is far from perfect. I think they have missed out on a lot of opportunities. I don't think these moves are great, but they are the moves they made. I understand. For the first time, I think last year, we saw a team that felt like they were on the up and up of a rebuild. Felt like they were going to make steps forward to continue building this roster and maybe make the jump into the playoffs. Maybe get over the hump. And they just weren't able to do so. It was a 3-14 year after not addressing anything on the offensive side of the ball. So they saw that. They said, okay, we're going to have to address it. And it's in small moves. Kyler Murray, gone. Some additions to the offensive line. Kendrick Bourne, Tyler Algier. It's small moves. It's not signing Malik Willis. It's not going out there and getting Romeo Doubs like the Patriots did. But it's these small moves that are allowing them to say, hey, we're adding to the offensive side of the football and maybe not playing for 2026, but playing for 2027. And lastly, the move they made yesterday, actually also on the offensive line, but they released Evan Brown. And in doing so, we're able to save another $4.9 million against the cap. So another money-saving move for the Cardinals. They continue to have room in the cap to continue to maneuver. Obviously, they're going to keep some of that for the draft. As they pick number 3, they are going to have to sign that player. So that will factor into that as well. But right now, the Cardinals still have money. Still have money that they can use to bolster the offensive line, to add a weapon, to add help maybe in the secondary, to add help at linebacker, edge rusher, or whatever it may be. But it was a flurry of moves for the Cardinals yesterday. And while they may not be eye-opening, while they may not make this team far better, I understand the moves they made. And it will continue to look like this for what I believe will be the remainder of the offseason. The D-backs have some exciting news today. One of their own returns to the mound. What can we expect in a spring debut for Merrill Kelly? We'll get into that next. Thanks for listening to The Lunch Break here on KDUS AM 1060.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
Indiana is not cheating. Lining up and punching the other guy in the face for 60 minutes, not against the rules. I challenge any of you social media whistleblowers to tell Kurt Signetti to his face that he is a cheater.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
A night you don't want to miss. Avenged Sevenfold. Good Charlotte. North America Tour 2026. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater. August 27th. Avenged Sevenfold. Good Charlotte. An epic night of music. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Avenged Sevenfold and Good Charlotte, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Your dental health affects your whole body's wellness. Got a broken tooth or need a crown? At Arizona Crown Center, you can expect care focused on crowns and bridges for just $6.99 per tooth, including your x-ray. That's less than half the usual cost. With Arizona Crown Center, expect top quality, efficient treatment backed by a 3-year unconditional guarantee, and even same-day service. They keep it simple and affordable, so you can enjoy the foods you love without worry. Plus, their friendly team makes every visit comfortable and easy. Whether it's your first crown or replacing an old one, they personalize your care to fit you. That's something to really smile about. Don't live with discomfort. Visit azcrowncenter.com for your free consultation today. Serving the Valley for over 20 years with offices in Chandler, Surprise, and Prescott. Get premium dental crowns and bridges at a price that fits your budget. azcrowncenter.com. That's azcrowncenter.com. Your smile's best friend.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
For nearly 25 years, Primavera has helped thousands of Arizona students succeed with an accredited world-class education, tuition-free and from home. Don't wait. Enroll today at chooseprimavera.com. That's chooseprimavera.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
It's Truck Month at Tim Hovick's Santan Ford. F-150s, Lightnings, Super Duties. Right now, get 0 down, 0% financing for 60 months, and 0 payments for 90 days. That's a brand new Ford truck from Santan Ford with nothing out of pocket. Nobody in Arizona beats Tim Hovick on truck deals. Nobody. We've got the inventory, we've got the financing, and we're moving metal. Truck Month is on, and when they're gone, they're gone. Tim Hovick's Santan Ford in Gilbert or santanford.com. Restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Before Arizona heat turns unbearable, get your AC ready with Ace Cooling, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Whether you need an AC tune-up, fast repair, or a new energy-efficient system, Ace helps keep your home cool, comfortable, and efficient all summer long. Beat the rush. Call Ace today at 602-536-4475 for free estimates and expert service. That's 602-536-4475. Or visit us online at acehomeaz.com. Acing Arizona's comfort needs since '94.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
It's the lunch break. We are back. Thank you for hanging out with us. In the last segment, we talked about some of the moves the Cardinals made yesterday and throughout their free agency throughout the week so far. Today, I also wanted to get into some of the news the D-backs had going on. First of all, I'll start with the U.S. They have a game in the WBC later tonight. It will be a 5 p.m. local start here. They play Team Canada in the quarterfinals, game 1. And then right before that, with a 3:30 local start, Korea will take on the Dominican Republic in the quarterfinals. But for the D-backs, a return to the mound for what was, I believe, their first offseason move, their first trade deadline move. They traded Merrill Kelly last year to the Texas Rangers at the deadline, and then were able to bring him back as a free agent this offseason. And from the moment they signed Merrill, I think we all knew the way it was headed, right? He was going to be the opening day starter. he felt like the immediate ace of this staff and kind of fit that role perfectly. A guy who has spent most of his career here as a Diamondback, a guy who has given the Diamondbacks a ton of moments, and his welcome back after being a Texas Ranger for a cup of coffee would be as the opening day starter. It wasn't long before that all kind of blew up in our face, and it was some back tightness, it was some back issues that has held him out for spring to this point. But Merrill Kelly will toe the rubber for the first time this spring today. It's a night game in spring. A 6:05 local start here today out in Surprise. And Merrill's expected to only pitch one inning in this game. He's been throwing a little bit on some of the backfields in some of the practice days, doing it with less pain, no discomfort. So those are all positive signs, but he will get to pitch an inning tonight. He will pitch the first inning. He will start the game. I think the plan is only for one inning, as Torey Lovello said. I don't know if there's a specific pitch count, if we could see him get into the second inning. But I think there is going to be a little bit to take away from how he looks. From a comfort standpoint, how does he look out there on the mound? This is his first start of the spring. And so I'm not expecting the velocity to be where it's normally at. I'm not expecting the break on some of his off-speed pitches on his repertoire to be there. But I want to see from a comfortability standpoint where he sits. And I think you're going to be able to see that in body language. I think you're going to be able to see that in just how his delivery looks and compare it to the Merrill Kelly we've watched for years. So I'm excited to see Merrill Kelly hit the mound tonight for his one inning. And I guess my biggest question is, we're less than 2 weeks to the start of the season. Merrill's going to throw one inning tonight. So what does the ramp up look like? In all seriousness, how many spring starts is he going to get? At max, is it 3? And I think that's being generous to call it 3. But let's call it 2. You know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's call it 3. Tonight, he'll pitch one inning. Maybe down the road, he'll pitch 3. And we could see him working maybe another 3. And so by the time his first start comes around in the rotation, we know it won't be opening day. It wasn't long after the injury. It was earlier this week that the D-backs announced that their opening day starter will be the same guy who did it last year, Zach Gallen, who they were able to re-sign on a 1-year deal. A contract year again for Zach Gallen. Last year, in the beginning part of the season, did not go great. Looking to right that ship a little for him, get a bigger contract, but it is a 1-year deal here with the Diamondbacks, and he will be the opening day starter once again. But for Merrill, can they get through that first turn through the rotation with him, one, not missing the start, but 2, I imagine he's going to be on a pretty short leash. Are we going to see Merrill Kelly's first few starts be 3, 4 innings, maybe, max? When is the first time we're going to actually see Merrill Kelly work into the 6th inning? Because I think a realistic timeline is May. Because these guys have had the opportunity to throw through all of spring. Merrill hasn't. We're talking about starting spring training with 2 weeks left in the season. Because getting Merrill Kelly back is not like getting Corbin Carroll back. Corbin Carroll is going to DH for the remainder of the spring. He's going to get at-bats. But for pitchers, these guys are routine people. These guys have a very specific ramp up to the season that they follow. It's what a lot of the time prevents these injuries when you have these guys throwing in the mid-90s, because let's face it, your body's not supposed to do that. It is not physically supposed to throw a ball 95 miles an hour. But pitchers are animals of routine. They need to have their specific ramp up to the season. And so for Merrill, it's starting about a month late. I think we could see a month into the season, because we always know early in the season anyway, you're not going to see guys get into the 7th and 8th inning. But for Merrill, I think it's going to be a long time before we see that. I think it's going to be May, the middle of May maybe, before we truly can start to say, okay, Merrill Kelly is going to go out there. He's going to give you the work that we expect from Merrill Kelly. He's going to be able to have the pitch count that we've seen Merrill Kelly have in previous years. All of that is going to take time. So while I'm excited to see Merrill Kelly toe the rubber tonight and surprise, while I'm excited to see how he feels, and I think there is going to be a lot to learn about how comfortable he is, I am interested to see what he's going to say post-game about how he feels, how the back felt. Did it tighten up on him? I think there's going to be good signs from tonight. But there was a fear for me that this could be worse. And to see him back tonight is a positive sign. So for the D-backs, it's been a lot of good news this week. A lot of good news this week. Corbin Carroll back earlier in the week. And again, while he went 0 for 3, he scorched some baseballs. And tonight, Merrill Kelly back. Everybody returning, everybody getting healthy, whether you're the Suns, they're starting to get healthy again. Hopefully Dylan Brooks won't be out too much longer. And now the D-backs getting healthy right at the perfect time before the season starts. Speaking of season starts, a contract was signed for a former starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. That's right. Kyler Murray is on an agreement, a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. I want to dive into that contract. I want to dive into what it may mean for Arizona Cardinals fans. We will do that next. Thanks for tuning in to the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060.
Join ASU Baseball for another weekend series right here on KDUS AM 1060. This Friday evening, join the Sun Devils as they square off against TCU. Coach Willie Bloomquist is more than ready to lead his team to another win as they open up conference play in 2026. Start your weekend with ASU and TCU in the Diamond this Friday night. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:35 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060, online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS app.
If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, everything can change fast. That's when the attorneys at Sweet James step in. They help you understand your rights, connect you with medical care, and pursue the compensation you may be entitled to. You don't pay anything unless your case is resolved successfully, and help is available 24 hours a day. If you've been injured, call Sweet James for a free case review. Hablamos Español. 800-900-0000. 800-900-0000. SweetJames.com. This advertisement is paid for by Sweet James LLP. Responsible attorney, Bobby Tech-Heavy. Offices in California. No guarantee of results.
The Avid Brothers and Mike Patton present Avid Patton performing live at Arizona Financial Theater, May 12th. Avid Patton. On sale now at livenation.com.
Hey, it's Phil Shaver with HomeSmart, and I want to buy your house. I'm a local investor that buys homes for cash all over Maricopa and Pinell County. I buy inherited homes, nice homes, rental homes, homes that are behind on mortgage payments, and I even buy ugly homes that need fixing. Also, are you looking to get closer to market value for your house? As a licensed realtor, I've been able to buy and sell thousands of homes. Since I'm local, you can call me directly on my cell phone, 480-409-9999. Again, that's 480-409-9999. I don't work for a big corporation or hedge fund, so I can only buy 3 to 5 homes per month. There are no fees involved, and you can pick your own close date. The best part is I buy homes as is, so you don't have to worry about doing any repairs. Again, you can call me directly at 480-409-9999, or you can go to my website, gosoldaz.com. That's gosoldaz.com.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
We wrap up hour number 1 here on the Friday edition of the lunch break. And I was going to get into Kyler Murray and his 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings, but I got a call during the break. I'm always going to take it. It's my guy, Brian. Brian wants to get into some draft talk. How you doing, Brian? Happy Friday.
Not bad. One last day before the Taskmaster gets back next week, so you better enjoy it.
Our fearless leader here on the program is 1 day away.
Yeah.
You're right, Brian.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kyler talk, that can wait. He's not here anymore. Just to clarify, are you wanting or expecting the Cardinals to draft a quarterback somewhere in the draft this year?
Yeah, so I think when I look at this draft, there's a couple guys I like, and I've been kind of all week very pro Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson's probably going to go towards the back of the first round. I think it's a perfect addition, and I like it from the fact of if I'm in a spot, and it all depends how much they like him in the building, huh? And I don't know all the interviews they took on during the combine. Like some of those are behind closed doors. Some of those we may not find out till after the draft. But if they got the chance to sit down, talk with Ty Simpson, and they liked him, I don't see a harm in moving up 6-7 spots to get into the first round at 25. Make sure that I get the 5th-year option. And I'm always pro draft a quarterback on day 2. You know, I think there are a few teams that won't or are never in that position. Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati. Outside of that, I would be taking a chance on any quarterback in the 3rd round. And the name I brought up there is Garrett Nussmeier. I don't know if I would use a 2nd-round pick on a guy like Drew Aller, who I just think from all the physical attributes is there. Big arm. He can move well. He really struggled this last year. It was, marked with some injuries, but it was hard to watch at times for Drew Aller. And I think there's been too many mistakes there. So it's a guy that's played a lot of football. I think I would steer away from Aller. I like Nussmeier a lot. I like him in the 3rd round. If he may drop to the 4th round, I really like him there. And if I can move into the 1st round and get a guy like Ty Simpson, I think I would like it. How are you leaning on that, Brian? Do you want them to draft a quarterback? Do you want them to wait for next year?
I got to stop you right there with all this. We are not ready for any quarterback that I see. It would just be wasting a pick. Our team is not ready to develop and make a quarterback pick worthwhile. We need dudes. If it's not bolted down, we need to draft anybody and everybody. The quarterback room is the least of the concerns of this team. Let's start drafting guys and build up the line. And then next year we get to the point, and I think it's going to be a better crop anyways, then we make the move. So those are my 2 cents. I hope we don't waste another Trace McSorley or Clayton Tune pick that just sits there and plays a little bit in the preseason. It's just a waste of a pick. But that's my 2 cents. Switching gears, you need to step in as a moderator. There was way too much Philly chatter in the chat room yesterday. This is a Cubs in Diamondbacks town.
A Cubs?
Yeah. So I need you to step in. Enough with the Phillies talk. So today it's been clear. So that's good.
Good. Brian, I'll let him know.
Yeah. Last thing before you go, take us behind the curtain a little bit. Any movement on going to a third hour?
I don't know about third hour yet. I think that's down the line, Brian. I always appreciate your support on the third hour, on extending this show. I don't want to tease anything, especially without Chris here. I think I would get. I think that you're walking me down a line here. I can get into some trouble, Brian.
Yep, you could get banned just like I did for bringing up
exactly, and I don't want to do that yet.
All right, I'll let you go.
Have a good one, Brian. Have a good weekend.
See ya.
It's interesting to hear some of Brian's points on the quarterback front, and I want to get into. And by the way, I knew John was going to be fighting for his Giants over there. It's a Giants program for our guy John as well. But the one thing that I disagree that Brian said is it's a waste of a pick. Are you going to hit on quarterback every time? Certainly not. And I don't think that that's going to happen a lot. And I think that people now believe you aren't going to hit on quarterback because we watched what Seattle did with Sam Darnold. We've seen what the Rams did in bringing in Matthew Stafford after they took a quarterback number 1 overall. I get it. The roster isn't ready. But I think a lot of people are excited about where the roster's headed in New York for the Giants. I think a lot of people sit down and look at what the New York Giants have done and say, okay, I like the flashes that I got from Jackson Dart in his rookie year. I look at that roster 2 years ago, and I'm serious when I told you it was one of the worst in the NFL. That's what it was. That's what it was. And they drafted a quarterback, and people feel way better about where they're at. I get it. This team isn't Kansas City when they drafted Mahomes. But when you get the right guy, it's so much easier. And I know what people are going to tell me when I give you this next example. But there was a serious conversation when the Bengals had the number 1 pick about Joe Burrow requesting out, pulling in Eli Manning, not playing for an organization because they weren't ready for him. Year 2, they were in the Super Bowl and 40 yards from winning it. Right? I mean, come on. They had a lead with 3.5 minutes left in a Super Bowl in year 2 because they got the pick right. I get it. This roster is not ready to compete. And I don't think adding a quarterback next year is going to be what puts this roster over the top. I'm not even saying he may play next year. What I am saying is if there's a quarterback I like in this draft, I'm taking him. It's not a waste of a pick. I disagree, Brian. If there's a quarterback I like in this draft, I'm taking him. Period. The end. Because that is the hardest position to find in all of sports. It's the hardest job to do in all of sports. And there's a difference in quarterbacks from having a guy like Kirk Cousins when he was in Minnesota who was a really good player. A guy like Dak Prescott in Dallas right now who I think is a really good player. And having a Josh Allen. And having a Patrick Mahomes. I would be swinging every year until I got one of those guys. If I liked what I saw out of Ty Simpson, why not? I know this roster needs to be built up, and I know everybody watched what Seattle did and built this roster. But watch, at the end of the day, the goal is winning Super Bowls. And I know that's far from this organization. That feels far. But when you get the right guy in the building, it doesn't feel that far. And I'm taking a swing every time until I do so. Look where Buffalo was before Josh Allen got there. Look where Cincinnati was before Joe Burrow got there. And maybe they're still in that same spot, but they are a far better football team just because Joe Burrow's on that roster. I get it. The Niners built their team the right way. They've done it correctly. They built in the trenches, and they're going to find their quarterback later. Okay? They did the same thing. Whether he was Mr. Irrelevant or not, they liked what they saw out of Purdy. They drafted him. Period. Taking a quarterback is never a waste of pick because if you're right, it's the hardest position to find in sports. That's a wrap on hour number 1. Hour number 2 coming up, and it starts with our guy Rooster joining the program again. We're going to get into everything we like with March Madness and Selection Sunday coming up this weekend. Thanks for tuning in to the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
The Psychedelic Furs are back, live. May 28th, 7:30 p.m. at the Celebrity Theater. The Psychedelic Furs. Playing all the hits with special guests. We Are Scientists. Tickets on sale now at celebritytheater.com. The Psychedelic Furs, brought to you by Danny Zalisco Presents.
Been crazy busy these days? Sounds like you could use a little we time. That means playtime at the AAA 4-Diamond Wekopa Casino Resort. Game time with more than 900 slots plus table games. Maybe a tea time on one of 2 nationally ranked courses. And definitely some hang time at WKP Sportsbook, the largest sportsbook in the state. Wekopa Casino Resort. It's we time.
You may think you know drag racing, the chills, the speed, iconic moments, but this season, it hits different. 75 years in the making. The crowd's locked in, waiting for that moment. The moment of realizing you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Whether you're a longtime fan or feeling earth-shaking horsepower for the first time, you're part of the story now. Expect the unexpected March 20th through 22nd when NHRA roars into Phoenix. Get tickets at NHRA.com today.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tea at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Try the Chicken Melt Trio at Port of Subs. Protein packed with bold sauces and built to crush cravings. Order now at portofsubs.com.
Sliced fresh sandwiches, Port of Subs.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Welcome back in. It's hour number 2 of the lunch break. My name is Evan Reiser, filling in for Chris Schubert as he finishing up his vacation here. Hope he had a wonderful time. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. And in hour number 2, and kick it off the same way we did yesterday with our guy Rooster coming in We want to talk about a little NCAA tournaments. We'll get into what the D-backs are doing this year. I'm going to finish off our number 2 with a little preview of the Suns. But right now, we got our guy, Rooster. Rooster, NCAA tournament right around the corner here. Selection Sunday on Sunday. How are you feeling? How do you like going into next week?
Well, let's start with that I'm a West Virginia Mountaineer fan first and foremost, and a team that looked like halfway through the season they were going to make the tournament, especially after they beat Kansas at home. West Virginia will be sitting at home. ASU will be sitting at home. So my 2 favorite teams, and then my 3rd favorite team, Rutgers, because of my New Jersey love, all 3 will be sitting at home this year. Not even a thought process for me to get excited about Selection Sunday and them being on the bubble. But the top teams, like we discussed yesterday, the 4 number 1 seeds in this tournament, and they're going to be. Florida is 100% going to be a number 1 seed. If anyone thinks that because their record's 25-6, they're not going to be a number 1, then you have not been watching college basketball. And then the other number 1s, obviously Duke, obviously U of A out here because they've just been spectacular. And then the last number 1 is going to be a no-brainer as well. So at the end of the day, when you're looking at Michigan, who's going to be the number 1 seeds, they are already set, and they are the 4 best teams in college basketball. The bubble could be a little exciting, and I brought up teams yesterday that could be a sleeper. I'm going to add another sleeper team to that list, everybody. Ohio State, who came on late, who played Michigan today for all they were worth this morning, and their guard Thornton, who's their leader, no doubt about it. The rest of them young guys have rallied around Thornton, and while Ohio State did lose to Michigan today, that's another team I'm putting in my sleeper bag. And when I say sleeper bag, my sleeper bag isn't filled with 12s and 11s and 10 seeds this year. My sleeper bag is going to be filled with a lot of 4s and 5s, I think, like Arkansas. Gonzaga could be a 3. I consider them a sleeper. Wisconsin could be a sleeper. Virginia could be a sleeper. And I've been watching college basketball every single night since November, Evan. So St. John's, again, another 3 or 4 could be a sleeper. And again, when I'm using the term sleeper, everybody, with the NIL the way it is now, you're not going to see these Cinderella stories like we used to, because those smaller programs, Evan, that could have had, players that stayed there till they were seniors and grew together as a group of 5 and got better. And maybe one of them would be an NBA star after those 4 years or make the NBA. Well, if they have that type of player on their team, like insert small mid-major school, well, after the first year they flashed out now, Evan, they're getting NIL money and being brought immediately to Kentucky, to Illinois, to Michigan, to Florida, to Duke, to North Carolina. So the small mid-major school making that deep run now is going to be fewer and far between than we ever used to. But the 4s, the 5s, the 6s, or the 3s, they could upset anybody. So that's the way I'm going about the bracket this year, Evan.
Yeah, and I like that approach, Rooster. And I think you said it best. The NIL has kind of changed everything. And it certainly changed how we look at college football, changes how we look at college basketball. I think it's interesting. You brought up like those mid-majors, and some of those teams are going to have guys that maybe come onto the scene as a freshman, a sophomore, and have these great years. And they go to some of these smaller schools to get playing time, but those teams don't have the, guys that have played together for 4 years anymore and have gelled and are getting hot at the right time like they used to. So it's just a really different approach to college basketball, to the bracket. But I do want to get into one of those mid-majors because Miami of Ohio was undefeated all year long until they lost yesterday in the conference tournament. And Rooster, I think there's been a lot of talk. Are they still in?
They better be in. Listen, when you go 31-0 in the regular season, and any team that's run the regular season has obviously made it into the NCAA tournament. Now, where the rub is, everybody, if you're wondering how a 31-0 team before they lost yesterday in their conference tournament even has a chance of not making the tournament, it's because of their strength of schedule. I mean, they had the 269th toughest schedule out of 365 teams. When you look through their schedule, a lot of times a team like Miami early in the year will get to play, even if it wasn't the biggest team. I'll use the example, like if it was ASU, if they got a game versus ASU, if they got a game versus like Washington State, they'll even get like sometimes games like that. Well, it wouldn't have been the top of a bigger conference, but it'd have been at least someone in those conferences. The biggest non-conference win that I could give Miami, Ohio is Air Force. I mean, now listen, Miami, Ohio's coach came out, obviously, in the last couple of weeks and gave a bunch of interviews, one of which was we tried to get games versus the bigger teams. Nobody wanted to play us. Now, who knows if that's a little hyperbole, but I believe it. I mean, if you're a good mid-major program like Miami, Ohio, it's obviously going to be. That's not the school that these bigger programs and the bigger conferences are looking to schedule in early November. So it's possible. But I think if you're 31-0, you've earned your right to at least get one game. Now, where Miami, Ohio, I believe, Evan, is going to take it right up to you-know-what? I think they're going to get put in the first four. So they're not even going to – see, to me, if you don't make the 64 and you don't play next Thursday when March Madness actually begins, because that's the madness.
That
Thursday
is the madness. It does not start on Tuesday.
It does not. The official start is Tuesday and Wednesday with the first four. But March Madness, the madness begins next Thursday and Friday. And if you don't make it to that, well, then it's kind of a big letdown. Like ASU under Bobby Hurley, back-to-back years made the tournament, got put in that first four nonsense. So, and we're not going to get into that rant. They didn't deserve to be put there. But Miami, Ohio, I'll say that as well. I don't think they deserve to be put there. Now, if you want to do Miami, Ohio a little dirty, and when I say a little dirty, getting them in the tournament, they'll be thrilled. Put them in the 8-9 matchup. Let them have to play a really tough team from a bigger conference, which is usually the teams in the 8-9. Let them see if they can get through them. And then if they do, they'll get a number one seed. I think that would be the right spot for Miami, Ohio. I do not want to see them after 31-0 get put into the 11 hole. And even worse, I would really be upset for them if they didn't make the tournament at all because of one loss in a conference tournament after going 31-0, Evan.
Yeah, right now they are projected. This is from Joe Lunardi's bracketology on ESPN. Right now they have them listed as an 11 seed taking on Wisconsin in the first round, who is a 6 seed. It's going to be interesting. And I liked what you brought up earlier as some of those 4 and 5 teams. One team I have been really liking this year. And listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Rooster. I grew up a Villanova fan. I'm a Big East guy. I have a preference on rooting for some of the Big East teams. But St. John's, to me, this year, 26-6. They were 18-2 in conference. I just really love what they're doing right now and how they're rolling into the tournament here.
Well, once they brought in Rick Pitino, listen, that's a legitimate coach, and he's turned St. John's back into the program they used to be when I grew up. I grew up in North Jersey, where the Big East, when I was a child, was Patrick Ewing, Georgetown. We had St. John's was a monster program back in the day. UConn, who has returned back to the prominence they once were. So bringing in Rick Pitino to St. John's was a huge deal, and it's paid dividends. I mean, like you said, point out what they've done so far this year. They're the team with the best record currently in the Big East. It's not UConn. So it's one of them things where will UConn perform in a tournament? Where will they be seated? But I think they're the type of team that could beat anybody. I don't know if they could stretch 6 together, but I think they could beat anybody. So that's one of the teams that could ruin somebody's bracket if you don't got your eyes on them there, Evan.
And I like what you said on UConn, too, because despite the feel that UConn has had, they statistically aren't the best team in the Big East. But a lot of people love what they have done this year. And while they're probably not the teams they were a few years ago, can you see UConn making that run, being in a Final Four, playing for a national championship?
Well, here, when you have a coach like Hurley, and we're speaking of Dan Hurley now, anything's possible. They won back-to-back national championships. If you could coach your team into that, then you could coach your team to believe. Since you've done it twice, this team will believe in their head coach. The problem is UConn's worst basketball has been being played in the last month. They lost at St. John's in early February. They followed it up with a loss to Creighton at home, and then followed that up a few games later with a loss to Marquette. Now, while Creighton and Marquette traditionally are solid basketball programs, it hasn't been the case this year. They've been having down seasons. So, again, any conference matchup, and when these teams all play UConn, they are gearing up like they're playing their national championship game. So you have to factor that in when any team in the Big East is playing UConn. But that being said, they've lost 3 games in the last month. So when you look at UConn's record and you see this monster record that they have, well, 3 of those losses came in the last couple weeks. So while anything is possible with a Hurley coach team at UConn, I expect them to be one of the teams to maybe go out in the first 2 or 3 rounds and be a shocking exit in the tournament.
Rooster, I want you to give me one team that you think is most likely to win the national championship, and then
Florida.
Florida,
back to back.
It's so
Florida,
interesting.
Back to back.
What do you think about Duke? Because you watch them go on runs this year where, let's face it, they are the best team in the country, and then moments where it doesn't really look like it.
Well, listen, we know what Duke is. Duke is a super talented team. They get some of the best recruits in the country every year. And I don't even know if I'm going to say arguably anymore. I think the best player in college basketball is Cameron Boozer, at least the way he's been proving it night in and night out, and especially at the collegiate level. And when I say especially at the collegiate level for Cameron Boozer, is because he's a big-bodied dude. There aren't many kids in college that are freshmen that are 6'9", 250, wide-shouldered, and know how to use their body and not foul with their big body, to be fluid with their big body, to play all levels. So Duke has the best player in the country. That's my opinion. The kid Peterson from Kansas, he may get drafted higher. There may be a few other players, but Boozer's a top 3 player without question, and I think he's the best college player right now in the country. So, no, you can't count out Duke. And the thing is, Duke isn't just Cameron Boozer. I mean, Duke is deep. Duke's got Evans. Who's this other kid? That Sarr, Dame Sarr. This kid is a freshman from Italy, 6'8", only getting better every time he steps on the floor. He's not one of their top 3 players. That's what's so scary about Duke. So, yeah, Duke could get through with their top 2 or 3 players not playing great, because they have younger guys on their roster that have been ascending all year long, and they haven't even reached their potential yet. So, yeah, a team like Duke, team like U of A, who plays, 7, 8 guys that are all good. And again, U of A is going to have multiple first-round players and Burries and Pete and maybe even others from that team. So the top 4 teams, Evan, they're hard to go against. The number ones, Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and Florida, they're the number ones for a reason, and I believe they're 2 steps ahead of the rest of the field. That being said, Arkansas, with 2 or 3 future NBA players on that team, 2 first-rounders, Acuff Jr., one of the most electric scorers for Arkansas in the country. Now, they have 2 freshmen doing that, Evan, and then they got a senior. All 3 of them might make the NBA from Arkansas. So the talent on Arkansas, they could win the whole entire thing. The problem is 2 of those players are freshmen. And when 2 of your superstars are freshman scorers, that they get a little wild. So while Arkansas can beat anybody and score enough points to beat anybody, I think they could also have a snoozer and maybe get eliminated by anybody. But that's the type of wild bracket you could have with a team like Arkansas when they're in it. They could ruin it. Either way, So that's the way I'm looking at this tournament right now there, Evan. The 4 number ones, though, if you're going to be setting your bracket, do 2 brackets if you want to have a wild bracket. You want to have a wild bracket, and no 16s are beating the number 1. Just that's not happening this year. Not happening. But if you want to have a wild bracket, do 2 brackets this year. Because 1, have your chalk. Last year, all 4 number ones made the Final 4. I can see that happening again. Again, I want to see how the bracket lays out, but these 4 top teams are there for a reason, Evan.
Well, Rooster, I can't agree with you more. It feels like a more top-heavy college basketball season this year. And as that season gets into the playoffs, the baseball season begins to start. We are going to break down what we think of the D-backs, but also just some teams we really like in baseball. We'll do that next here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
I'm not here to bury Mike Tomlin, but the fact is, this absolutely is the right move. He did the right thing, and he fired himself. All good things come to an end. Going a decade without winning a single playoff game is not meeting the standard.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Bad Omens. Do you feel love? North American Tour 2026. Live at Desert Diamond Arena, March 24th. Bad Omens. With special guests, Beartooth and President. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Bad Omens, live in Glendale.
Hello, everybody. Eric Bryan.
And Gina Bryan.
Owners of Precision Air and Plumbing.
When we talk about precision, we're not just talking about business. We're talking about our name and reputation.
A lot of companies claim they're local, but they're not. They've been bought out, answering to shareholders.
Homes turn into numbers and priorities turn into profits, not customers.
Not here. We'll be here long after the job is done. Make the precision decision. Call 602-FIX-MY-AC.
Make a precision decision with Precision Air.
Ready to refresh your space for less? At Living Spaces, thoughtful design and direct sourcing keep prices low while quality stays high. With sofas starting at just $295, queen beds from $195, and dining sets from just $295. Updating every room is within reach. Plus, enjoy fast, free shipping as soon as next day. So your new favorites arrive without the wait. Your next piece is waiting only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
What would you do if you could multiply your cash? Would you multiply your vacations? Multiply your relaxation? Or multiply your celebrations? With multiplier scratchers from the Arizona Lottery, you can multiply all the good things like vacations, relaxation, and celebrations. Play multiplier scratchers for over $270 million in prizes and multiply your fun. Arizona Lottery. Love the play.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Last night, Bam Adebayo delivered a performance no one saw coming. The Heat big man erupted for 83 against the Wizards, surpassing the iconic 81-point night from Kobe Bryant. Adebayo shot 20 of 43 from the floor, made 7 threes, and made 36 free throws. The last part is what has fueled debate today. That's a lot of trips to the line. But free throws are not accidents. They come from forcing defenders into bad positions and the offensive player being talented enough to make them pay. Getting to the line that often still requires dominance. Was Coach Eric Spoelstra's strategy to give Bam extra possessions by fouling in the final minutes? Yes, but context fades over time. 20 years from now, nobody's going to be counting the points from the charity stripe or Miami's late game strategy. They'll see that number 83 and remember the historic night by one of the league's more underrated stars. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. 2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of General tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan to see their General tire test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
Indiana is not cheating. Lining up and punching the other guy in the face for 60 minutes, not against the rules. I challenge any of you social media whistleblowers to tell Kurt Signetti to his face that he is a cheater.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back into the Friday edition of the lunch break. I got Rooster on here, and we were going to break down some of the D-backs season hopes, some of the teams around Major League Baseball and their season hopes. But first, Rooster, I think what we got going on right now, what we got going on tonight, the World Baseball Classic goes into the knockout rounds. In the quarterfinal games, we got 2 tonight. It'll be Korea versus the Dominican Republic, and the United States will play Canada.
Oh, I have the Dominican Republic to win this whole thing. I went against my country, my nation, America's favorite pastime.
I can't believe it, Rooster.
Listen, I have a lot of things to answer for when it's all said and done, and this will be one of them. But listen, to me, and we talked about it off air, the Dominican Republic and Japan, and even the other countries that's not America, they take this tournament so seriously, especially Japan and Dominican Republic. Why? They want to prove. They want to prove to the world, they want to prove to themselves that they're as good at baseball or better than the Americans, which it's our game. And Japan's been proving it the last few years. Dominican Republic, they want to prove it this year. You could see the energy and excitement coming off that team.
Every time they hit a home run, I mean, that team seems like the most fun team to be a part of.
Soto, Tatis, Machado,
awesome.
The list goes on and on. I mean, their lineup is as dangerous or as dangerous as the American lineup. I mean, incredible orders for the Dominicans and the USA. But I got shafted, Evan. I got shafted. USA taking second. And if they'd have been eliminated, I would be cruising on easy street. I'd feel like, no problem. Let's get to the finals and take care of Japan. But since USA finished second in their division and they were the runner-up slot, well, now the Dominican Republic, if they win tonight, and if USA wins tonight, excuse me, USA against Canada, Dominican Republic versus Korea, if they both win, well, they're going to face off in the next game in the semis. Whereas if USA would have won their division, or could have been eliminated, but if they would have won their division, they'd be on the opposite side of the bracket, and they'd be playing Japan. And Japan or USA would knock each other out, and Dominican would have just cruised into the finals. Now, Dominican Republic or United States, if they're going to win this thing, they're going to have to beat the other, and then more than likely have to beat Japan. So Japan with the easy road right now. If there is one, it's the Japanese players got the easy road there, Evan.
Yeah, and it looks like it. And just not saying that Venezuela isn't a bad team, but when you look at what Japan has going tomorrow, it will be Yamamoto for them tomorrow. So it just feels like they're going to be moving on. They're going to cruise through Venezuela. And then maybe you have the easier game on the other side of it. You have Team Italy and the winner of, Team Italy versus Puerto Rico. That feels like an easier game for them than Venezuela. Whereas you look at the other side of the bracket, it could be a United States, Dominican Republic dogfight to see who gets the finals.
It will be. And the only thing that we're doing right now is that everyone on Team Italy is scratching their head, listening to the lunch break right now going, did anybody watch us beat America? Did anybody watch us beat Mexico? Did anybody watch us go 4-0? Does no one really believe we can't beat Puerto Rico and then a Japanese team that will not have Yamamoto or Ohtani, who's not pitching at all on the hill? Like, I'm sure Italy is playing that role If we're looking for our Cinderella story in March, it's Italy in the World Baseball Classic, Evan.
It really is. This is a team that was, I think a lot of people looked at as, the 10th, 9th best team in the tournament. And now they're here in the final 8, and they won the pool. They went 4-0. And obviously, Mark DeRosa in the United States, let's face it, handled that game extremely poorly. But Italy took advantage and not only beat the United States, but for most of that game, simply embarrassed them. And then they went in and blew the doors off of Mexico. And now we're here where they won Pool B and they get to play Puerto Rico. And to me, that could be the most interesting game here of this first quarterfinal.
Agreed. It's going to be one of those tough games. And at the end of the day, I think Italy gets through. If Italy could play this role of underdog, no one believed in us, we're playing with house money, well, then there's a possibility that they take out Japan. And if that happened, the Dominican got to play Italy, I will cash my check before the game even starts. I will be spending money I don't even have yet, and that's when Italy will wind up winning this whole thing. But I can hope for that. I got the DR plus 450 before the tournament started. That's what I am hoping for, Evan. Your Diamondbacks, you've been talking a lot about them over the last handful of days, Evan. And listen, you bring up Corbin Carroll coming back, and I heard you talking about his bat speed looking good with that hand injury. Corbin Carroll's going to be just fine. He is a young physical specimen. There is no way that Corbin Carroll was going to come back one day before he was ready, because if Corbin Carroll was back for opening day at 80%, or he could be back for April 14th at 100%, they would have waited till April 14th. So where he's going to be lacking a little bit, Evan, is probably just in timing, which is why I've heard you say, and we've heard Corbin Carroll say, he's in the back of a talking stick field in the cages. He's trying to get that timing. He's trying to get all the things he missed while he was doing his rehab. But I tell you, Evan, when you see Corbin Carroll in person and you get to see him in the locker room, this dude's built like a physical 165 pounds of Greek statue. So when it comes to taking care of himself, his body, his recovery, he's at the age, he's that type of specimen. Trust me, he is going to be fine. The only thing it could be is a little bit of timing, but as he said, Evan, as you pointed out, he's working on that every single day in the cages.
Yeah, and I would think we've seen this injury happen so many times across baseball. Like, I expect there to be maybe a dip in power numbers. I think last year was such a power output that maybe we didn't even expect from Corbin Carroll. So I think there's going to be a dip in those numbers. I just think that's natural coming off of a hand injury, but I expect him to be the same player. Like, I expect the same style of offensive output and the same impact that he'll have in this lineup. This is a top 4 heavy lineup, and they need him in it. Right now, Rooster, you can get them over on DraftKings at over 79.5 wins, minus 110 on the 79.5 wins.
Well, if you want to do that, go to 80-plus wins over at FanDuel and get them at minus 102. Save yourself a few bucks. That's
Very nice.
That's why I always say do your shopping. There's at least 10 or more different sites out here, everybody. And if you're going to do these future plays, every single site is slightly different, and it's hard enough to win. Don't give a few dollars away in any direction. Make sure you are doing your shopping when that's going on. Yeah, listen, can the Diamondbacks get to 80 wins? We'll see what their pitching allows them to do, and we'll see what their bullpen allows them to do. They're going to have offense. I'm not worried about their offense. They're going to have offense. They'll have enough offense to win a few baseball games. Will their bullpen close out those games when they had enough offense? Will their starting pitching go enough innings to warrant their bullpen even having an opportunity to close out a game for them? Now, I'm happy to have Zach Gallen back, and I've been a huge fan of Merrill Kelly. And Zach Gallen's going to have something to prove, and Merrill Kelly is always trying to prove something. Ryan Nelson has to be Ryan Nelson from last year. And then we're going to have a pitcher or two emerge. Corbin Burns, I believe, last I checked in with Steve Gilbert of MLB.com, Diamondback insider for decades here in Arizona. I spoke with him in person a few weeks ago, so this isn't like an update from yesterday. But I was like, is Corbin Burns going to pitch this year? And he's like, yeah, probably around the summer. So if the Diamondbacks could have a good first half, The pitching, Gallen, Kelly, Nelson, and a few others could piece together a bunch of good starts. Well, they could get their ace back in the middle of the year. That'd be like making a monster trade, one the Diamondbacks would never afford to do. So that's the route that I'm mentally looking at right now. Final thing on Corbin Carroll with his power there, Evan. Throughout his career, he's been streaky with his homers. I remember in 2023, he had 25 homers. Almost all of them were in the first half.
Yeah.
And he had none in the second half. In 2024, it looked like he was going to be slumping, to be honest with you. Like, sophomore
It was a tough start, yeah.
Yes, and then he came back to Corbin Carroll. So even if he starts out slow power number-wise, Evan, I wouldn't at this point even attribute it to his hand because I believe in my heart of hearts. One, Corbin Carroll's 100%, 99% healed if he's out there. Again, we're not talking about it's August or September and the Diamondbacks are 2 games back and they need their superstar back and he's better back at 80% than nothing. This is the start of a 162-game season. Corbin Carroll would not be out there if he physically wasn't 100%. So that's what I'm positively putting my mind at with Corbin Carroll coming back this early.
Last question for you, Rooster. I know you're a Yankees guy. You got 90.5 wins here at -110. What do you think of the Yankees this year in 2026? Obviously, Garrett Cole getting back healthy.
The problem with the New York Yankees year in and year out right now is, one, they're in a very tough division, and two, seemingly all their top pitchers by, April 14th are going to be injured. So it's hard to know with the Yankees, and then the Yankees will spend. So if the Yankees do get a ton of injuries, who knows? By August, they could have a whole new pitching staff and spent another $200 million. So the Yankees at 90-plus wins. What do you have them at over at DraftKings?
I have them at 90.5, -110.
-110. See, this is where you got to do your shopping. See how on DraftKings, before I got you a better number at FanDuel. Well, this time you'd have a better number at DraftKings. The Yankees on FanDuel, 90-plus wins, -140. So if you do it at DraftKings, -110.
Save yourself some money here.
Bunch of money.
That's a lot.
Got to do your shopping, everybody, especially on future plays. I mean, like the drastic. I mean, that's a drastic difference.
That's
right
a
there.
huge difference.
That's bet $140 to win 100 or $110 to win 100. I mean, huge difference. So again, always do your shopping. Listen, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not going against the Yankees. The problem is their division is tough. And the Red Sox made a bunch of moves. And Toronto, I mean, people forget they were in the World Series last year, and they made moves as well. The Orioles, I don't know. In Tampa Bay, no one ever believes in them. And then every other third year or so, they're fighting for the division with a bunch of nobodies. Now, I don't expect it out of Tampa this year. Yankees +175 to win the East. Blue Jays 280 to win the East. Red Sox 290 to win the East. And then they even had the Orioles at 420. So those top 4 teams not separated by much, and the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Red Sox separated by less than, 1 odd point from like a 2-1 to a 3-1. They're right in that range. So listen, it could be anybody. It could be anybody. I am not betting the Yankees to win the East. I would take them for over 90 wins, though.
It's going to be a crowded East, no doubt, and it's going to be an interesting year in the NL West. Obviously, we think that the Dodgers will probably run away with this division again, but it's going to be quite the competition for the last few wild card spots. Obviously, there's going to have to be a winner out in the NL East. You're going to have to get Phillies. You're going to have to get the Mets, one of those 2 teams. And then in the West, we've talked about it before, but the Padres, the D-backs, the Giants, all solid rosters. And then in the Central, those Brewers and those Cubs all fighting for the last few wild card spots. Can you see the D-backs getting in this year, Rooster?
I'm always glass half full before the start of a Major League Baseball season, so I'll say that they could fight for the wild card. I mean, obviously with the Dodgers in your division, I mean the Dodgers are -650 to win the division, just a division, a 5-team division. The Padres, the next obviously favorite in that division. Favorite's a very loaded word there. +950. So you're -650 for the Dodgers just to win the West. Then you're +950 for the Padres. Obviously, it keeps going down. The Giants +1,600. The Diamondbacks +2,200 to win the West. 22-1 just to win the West. So obviously getting through the West ain't going to be the route. It's going to have to be the wild card. We will see. Pitching, bullpen. Evan, thanks for having me on lunch break. Love hanging out with you. Love helping out Chris and his show. Tonight, 5 to 6 p.m., I'll be at RTO Sullivan's in Scottsdale. I'll be doing my show live there from 5 to 6 p.m. on the corner of Thomas and Hayden Road. Come on down. I'm doing my second chance NCAA pool, Evan. Roosters' second chance NCAA pool. It starts at the Sweet 16. And I'm getting 16 people in, Evan. You got to call into my show. Two callers tonight. 2 callers last night got in. 2 callers tonight will get in. 2 people that show up at RTOs that I choose at random will be in. And then next week, Monday through Friday, 2 callers every night during my show on the Sports Zoo, 5 to 6 p.m. Why do you want to be one of these 16 people? Because the 16 people in, Evan, are automatic winners. Soon as you're in, and you're numbered 1 through 16, depending on where you called, you're going to get a $25 gift card to Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers just for getting in. If you win the first round, you're going to get to keep your Cold Beers gift card. And then you're going to get a Mighty Axe $35 gift card for making it to the Elite 8. You make it to the Final 4, you're going to add on top of that a $50 gift card to the Angry Crab Shack. Then you make it to the finals, you're going to get a Pop-A-Shot. If you lose, the pop-up version. And if you win, I got 3 or 4 prizes to choose from. Evan, do you want the bad news?
I want the bad news.
You're not allowed in, Evan. You work at the station. That's the bad news for you.
Rooster. Oh, you set me up, got me so excited, and then hit me with that news.
Oh, that's how it goes sometimes.
Sounds like a great time. Don't forget to listen to the Sports Zoo. Don't forget to get over to RTO Sullivan's tonight. It's a UFC Friday, right? A
MMA Friday.
An MMA Friday.
What a touch of NCAA. It's the beginning of March Madness.
You have to touch on it.
Just a little touch, depending on what happened in today's games. In Florida, advancing over Kentucky, my team to win this whole thing. I took them a few weeks ago at 12-1. They're now down to 6-1. So I got the best number there. I got the best number, Evan.
Awesome, Rooster. Thank you again so much for joining us. You have a nice weekend. Good luck with your show tonight. I'll be listening.
Thanks, Evan. Have a great one.
Thanks again to Rooster for joining the program for the last 2 days. We got 2 more segments here on the Friday edition before we head to the weekend. And I want to get into a conversation we were supposed to have earlier. Kyler Murray signs a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll get into that next, right here on the lunch break on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
This ain't pop. This ain't pretty. This is Southern hospitality. The Black Crows, Whiskey Myers, blues-soaked guitars, outlaw swagger. Rock and roll the way it was meant to be. Loud, raw, and real. The Southern Hospitality Tour. The Black Crows, Whiskey Myers. Saturday, August 15th, Mortgage Matchup Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
Low T, start for free for a limited time. Get prescription testosterone therapy with no startup fee, only at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. Prescription testosterone gives you more energy, stamina, and it'll help you lose weight and lose that dad bod for good. You'll also think better, sleep better, and your love life will be better. Look, don't be fooled. Nothing boosts testosterone like actual testosterone. So skip the gimmicks and get prescription strength testosterone now at Red Mountain Weight Loss. It's a game changer. So don't wait. If you've got low T, get started for free. Meet with a board-certified medical provider online with no waiting from the convenience of your home or office. Book today and feel like yourself again. Only at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Go to redmountainweightloss.com or dial pound 250 on your phone. Keyword Red Mountain. Red Mountain Weight Loss. Real testosterone. Real doctors. real results.
Monument Valley? Check. Grand Canyon? Check. Sedona? Check. Camelback? Check. Think you've seen it all in Arizona? Well, if you haven't been fishing, you haven't seen a thing. From ponds and reservoirs to rivers and lakes, our state has no shortage of ways to cast a line for beginners and pros. And a fishing license is your passport to all of them. Get your license at azgfd.gov and discover a whole new way to see Arizona.
Right now at Superstar Car Wash, it's buy one wash, get one free. Yep, buy a wash, get a wash on us. Perfect for sharing and saving. Don't miss this limited time offer. Be super and stop by your nearest location today.
The Renaissance Festival is back, weekends now through March 29th. Be ready to have a great time. Amazing adventure awaits the entire family. New shows, shopping, jousting nights, non-stop feasting. Leave your cares behind. Happiness reigns at the Renaissance Festival. It's fun and affordable. Visit now through March 29th. Discount tickets available at Bashas' and Food City or online at arizona.renfestinfo.com. Presented by Delta Airlines, Bashas', Food City, Pepsi, Budweiser, and Guinness. Huzzah!
It's the Shamrock and RV sale at Little Dealer, Little Prices. Take home a Forest River Westrope 27cc for just $25,995 and scratch off up to $5,000 in added savings. Shop now. Inventory subject to availability. Scratch off savings and incentives may vary. Maximum savings not guaranteed. Terms and conditions may apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 31st, 2026.
Join ASU Baseball for another weekend series right here on KDUS AM 1060. This Friday evening, join the Sun Devils as they square off against TCU. Coach Willie Bloomquist is more than ready to lead his team to another win as they open up conference play in 2026. Start your weekend with ASU and TCU in the Diamond this Friday night. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:35 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060, online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS app.
Welcome back in to the lunch break here. Happy Friday, everybody. We got two more before we hand it off to Jim Rome here at the top of the hour. And real quickly, I wanted to get into Kyler Murray. And he signed a one-year deal yesterday with the Minnesota Vikings. And there were some interesting things in the deal. There was a talk from his agent that they signed the deal knowing that Kyler will be the starter. There is no way for him to be the backup in week one. And on top of that, an interesting clause, one that I thought I may have never heard before, was a no franchise tag, a no tag clause in this deal. So if Kyler Murray does play well this year, the Vikings won't be able to franchise tag him after the year, and they will let him hit the open market or re-sign him and give him an extension. Murray on this one-year deal, it's an interesting conversation for Cardinals fans because a lot of people don't know how to feel. And Kyler Murray era here is over. And it was about time that it needed to be over. It was 7 years, a roller coaster of 7 years, maybe 2 good years, 2 solid years in there, until the playoff game that everybody remembers. And I think the writing was on the wall this year at times, and people knew that they were going to move on. People knew it was a kind of a prove-it year for Kyler Murray. But as he signs with the Vikings, I want to get people ready for this likely situation, this likely scenario. He goes to the Minnesota team that across the board is better offensively. Actually, I'll say this. He's almost better across the board, offensively and defensively. A team that's going to be running receivers out there named Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. A team with a head coach that Chris and I both rave about. A guy that I would sit here and argue is one of the best football coaches in the league in Kevin O'Connell. From an offensive schematic standpoint, Kevin O'Connell is among the best in football. With all that being said, there's a huge possibility that Kyler Murray could have a pretty successful first year in Minnesota. They might know how to use him better. He's going to have maybe the best weapons he's ever had. Not maybe. He's going to have the best weapons he's ever had. So there's a likely scenario where Kyler Murray may have his best season next year as a Minnesota Viking. And I want the people that wanted him gone to realize that that's a really likely scenario. It's a way better infrastructure in Minneapolis than it is in Arizona. The Vikings are ready for Kyler Murray to step in. They had a ton of success with Sam Darnold, and I know Sam went to win a Super Bowl, but a lot of that growth came in Minnesota. So I caution people to be ready for what could be Kyler Murray's best year, and it's not time to panic. It's not time to say, oh my gosh, the Cardinals made the wrong move, because no matter what, no matter how well he plays in Minnesota, I don't care if he wins the MVP. It was time for the Cardinals to move on. And that success was never going to happen here. There was too much history. There was too many storylines. Too much of this fan base didn't believe in him. Too much of this media market didn't believe in him. From the minute he signed that second contract, and we talked about, what was it, the homework clause? From the minute that deal was done, the writing was on the wall here for Kyler Murray. And so he may go to Minnesota and he may have success in 1 year. For me, them putting the no tag clause in that contract means they believe he's going to have success. So just understand that that's a very likely situation. But you cannot sit here and say, oh my gosh, the Cardinals made the wrong move again. Because I was one of them that said it's time to move on. What Kyler Murray does in Minnesota does not matter. You can watch it, whether you root for him or not, that is up to you. But it will not matter to the Cardinals, because he was never going to have the success he may have in Minnesota with the Arizona Cardinals. Not with the way they're currently built. So wrap it up. It's over. And it was time to move on for this organization, which they did so. We got one more left for you here before the weekend. It's the leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to, and they coming up next. Thanks for listening to Lunch Break here on KDUS AM 1060.
Every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. is MMA Friday on the Sports Zoo with official UFC ranker Scott Lewis, brought to you by RTO Sullivan's, your home for every UFC event. The Sports Zoo is the only show in the Valley that gives you 1 full hour of MMA every week, featuring Scott Lewis's official UFC ranking changes, fight predictions for every weekly event, shocking MMA stories, and more. So tune in every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. and then head to RTO Sullivan's every Saturday to watch the fights. Go to RTOSullivans.com for a location near you.
If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, everything can change fast. That's when the attorneys at Sweet James step in. They help you understand your rights, connect you with medical care, and pursue the compensation you may be entitled to. You don't pay anything unless your case is resolved successfully, and help is available 24 hours a day. If you've been injured, call Sweet James for a free case review. Hablamos Español. 800-900-800-900-0000. SweetJames.com. This advertisement is paid for by Sweet James LLP. Responsible attorney, Bobby Tick-Heavy. Offices in California. No guarantee of results.
It's the spectacular return of Bruce Springsteen and the legendary E Street Band. Land of Hope and Dreams American Tour. Live at Mortgage Matchup Center, April 16th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. An unforgettable night with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. For more, visit BruceSpringsteen.net.
Every day begins with the promise of something new, a new perspective, a fresh start. At Banner Health, right here, right now, we're pioneering new ways to treat cancer with our own immune systems. We're among the first to treat Parkinson's with the patient's own cells. And we're a world leader in artificial heart implantation, all while training over 1,300 doctors every year. Impressive, right? It's just another Banner day. Banner Health.
Santana, Oneness Tour 2026. The power, the energy. Come celebrate your favorite hits from Woodstock to Supernatural and beyond. With very special guest, the Doobie Brothers. Friday, August 14th, Mortgage Matchup Center. On sale now at livenation.com. Santana and Doobie Brothers, Oneness Tour 2026.
KDUS AM 1060 is your home for the Jim Rome Show.
I'm not here to bury Mike Tomlin, but the fact is, this absolutely is the right move. He did the right thing, and he fired himself. All good things come to an end. Going a decade without winning a single playoff game is not meeting the standard.
The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back into the lunch break. We got one more for you before we hand it off to Jim Rome at the top of the hour. And I wanted to get into kind of a cool story. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 35 points last night, which now gives him the most consecutive games with 20 points or more. 127 games with 20 points or more for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's starting to run away with the NBA MVP this year as Oklahoma City tries to repeat, tries to win another one. And just what a crazy record to break from Wilt Chamberlain, of all people. Wilt Chamberlain kind of been a talk track because this week you had Bam Adebayo's 83-point night, and then you had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropping 20 points in 127 consecutive games. Insane out of the NBA. Some stuff that we have going on the program this weekend. We have ASU baseball. They start a 3-game set. We will have them on tonight. It will be a 6:45 first pitch, meaning that 6:15 we will start pregame. That'll be the same time on Saturday night, and then on Sunday they play a noon game, meaning a 105 game, meaning a 12:30 start. So a 6:35 pregame with a 6:35 first pitch with a 6:15 pregame for tonight and tomorrow. They have number 17 TCU. Should be a good one for them. We have NASCAR on Sunday. That race will be over on 1440. You can also stream that in the app. And then on top of all of that, I actually think that's it. I think we got through the week. No Chris. I got through the week. Taking my little victory lap here on the air. Chris will be back on Monday. Lunch break will be back to normal. I want to thank everybody for what has been just a great week. And I know we have a few minutes left, and I do have another story for you. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a great week hanging out with you guys. Been a great week filling in for Chris, and I'm glad we were able to do it. But one story I wanted to get into to finish the week, it's been a lot of talk about NFL free agency. And the last story was written by Bleacher Report this morning, which was the top 10 steals across free agency. And it starts with the Arizona Cardinals at number 10. Running back Tyler Algier, a 2-year, $12.25 million contract. We talked about what Algier has been able to do before Bijan got there. So somebody I'm excited about to see run the rock here for the Cardinals. Number 9 on this list was Chason to the Washington Commanders, the edge rusher from the New England Patriots on a 1-year, $11 million deal. The New York Giants, who I think have been having a really tremendous offseason across the board, and it continued in free agency. They signed Bears linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. The New York Jets, the other New York team, also stole somebody from the Bears, Nashawn Wright. the cornerback for the Chicago Bears. The offensive tackle, Braden Smith, was a name that I really thought the Cardinals might be interested in. He signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans have been very active through the offseason, through free agency especially. So another good deal for them. Number 5 on this list, Elton Jenkins to the Cleveland Browns, the offensive guard for the Green Bay Packers, a 2-year, $24 million deal. Number 4 is the New England Patriots, one of the moves of their own. They signed the safety Kevin Byard, and it's been everybody leaving Chicago. And Kevin Byard will join the AFC champions from last year on a 1-year, $9 million deal. Number 3, Tyler, I'll never get this name right, Biadasz to the Los Angeles Chargers, the interior offensive lineman for the Washington Commanders, a 3-year, $30 million deal at $10 million a year. And I think this next one is simply because of the money. But number 2 on this list, Tua Tagovailoa to the Atlanta Falcons, a 1-year, $1.3 million deal. You get used to seeing sticker shock on some of these deals these days with so much money. That one, the other way around, 1 year, $1.13 million. And number 1 on the list, same thing, veteran minimum for quarterback Kyler Murray to the Minnesota Vikings, a 1-year, $1.3 million deal. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in this week to the lunch break. Chris will be back on Monday. Hope everybody has a nice weekend. We will catch you later. Peace.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.